What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And luckily for me today, during the login where we get these S rank legend tickets, last week I actually ended up getting a new character, being Daz Bones. Woke up this morning, logged in, and lo and behold, we ended up pulling another brand new legend in Nami and Sanji. So this character is a couple months old at this point. This character came out, as kind of like the start of the whole Egghead stuff, leading up to the global anniversary, of course, with the Luffy and Lucci and the Zoro and Kaku and stuff like that. So this character is a bit of an interesting one. Not a character that I think is going to see a hell of a lot of play, but has some very interesting mechanics which may be able to be abused in short form content like a Kizuna Clash, for example. So let's go ahead and break down exactly what this character is doing. So first of which, you have different abilities depending on who you start off as your captain, whether it be Nami or Sanji. So they actually have the same captain, but at the start of the quest, they actually will activate an ability, and depending on who you have as your captain, you get a different effect. So if Nami is your starting captain, will go ahead and give you a 3x orb boost for 5 turns for Dex, Quick Fighter, and Cerebral, as well as giving themselves -2 to their Super Switch gauge. And then you have Sanji, who instead of giving an orb boost for 5 turns, will give you a 2.5 chain addition for 5 turns. So, like, hypothetically, you could run this character as a captain in very short form content, and boom, get this orb boost, get this chain boost, carried all the way to the end, and it gives you quite a lot of damage. And having an orb boost and a chain boost, then activating this character's special, can give you enhanced abilities. So we'll talk about that very shortly. When you combine into their dual form, they don't really get much. They get the ability where if you tap on them with a recovery tandem, Semler, bomb, or super bomb slot, they give you a 15% final tap bonus damage, but like, let's be real, that kind of effect is pretty redundant. So I think in a lot of cases, you're not really going to be using this character as a captain all that much. This character's switch ability, of course, it is a dual unit. Their switch effect is okay. It gives a 15% resistance down for Fighter Cerebral, and also reduces 1 turn of bind. So I feel like a switch ability with that kind of effect will be pretty useful as a crewmate. If you get inflicted with bind on a random character, just being able to just reduce 1 turn of that is pretty nice, especially if you have a level 12 ship which can reduce bind by a further couple of turns of duration. Like, that can actually be pretty useful, just reducing like 6-7 turns of bind just naturally with supports, sockets, switch effects, etc. could be pretty useful. When you eventually get access to this super switch, it gives you a 30% resistance down for Fighter and Cerebral, which is actually pretty good, because if a character is both Fighter and Cerebral, those effects will multiply together, giving you like a 1.69 times bonus damage, which is quite good. They reduce 4 turns of bind instead of 1 with their super switch, and they also extend the duration of your orb boost and your chain addition. So if you have Nami and or Sanji as your captains, getting that orb boost or the chain boost at the start of the quest, if you eventually use that super switch, they extend the duration of that, which can be quite useful, of course. So I think in short form, like, Kizuna is going to be the most likely scenario where you would go out of your way to actually use this character. Or if you find yourself in a situation where, you know, a bunch of characters get cooldown at the start of the quest, whether it be like a treasure map mini boss or something like that, or even like a clash or an arena or a coliseum, something like that, where you have max special ship, for example, could actually work quite well. The interesting thing about this character is that this character has a superclass ability whilst also being a dual unit. In order to get access to it though, you do need to have this character become the dual unit with their super switch gauge. So when you perform the super switch, they combine into their dual form, and then when you activate the superclass ability, you need to have them combine in their dual form. You need to have 3 of either Vegapunks, Straw Hats, or Bonnie on the team, which is pretty harsh. So the actual superclass effect doesn't really provide that much to you. It only really helps you when you have other abilities already activated on your team. So the effect itself will allow your orb boost to be buffed up to 2 times, which could be pretty useful. The effect itself will also increase your orbs by up to 1.2 times, and that can cap out at a 4 times bonus, which is quite good. So if you have their orb boost that they have from like their special ability, which when you launch their special, it's actually a 2.75 times boost, and then if you multiply that by 1.2, it becomes a 3.3 times bonus, which is quite good. But the max possible bonus you can get would be something like if you have a 3.25 times orb boost. If you use their superclass, it can go up to close to that 4 times multiplier. But considering how good some of the orb boosts are these days, I don't know if this effect is going to be used all that often. But being able to get a multiplier on a withstanding orb boost is actually pretty strong. So that can work quite well if you're able to plan your team out correctly, get an orb boost, activate their super switch to become the dual unit, and then get access to their super class, which can be quite difficult because you do need very specific units in order to activate this effect. So moving past that, they have their special ability. Now, their special ability has, again, it's like pretty interesting effects, but the character needs other units to make this character actually shine. So first of which, when you launch the special, you get guaranteed paralysis inflicted on the enemy for 2 turns that goes through immunity, but the character doesn't have a way to kind of abuse that effect. The character doesn't have a conditional boost against paralyzed enemies, so it means you have to apply some other type of effect that can do that. There aren't any supports in the game currently that give you a conditional boost against paralyzed enemies, which would be fantastic if they end up doing that in the future. But as of right now, you will have to use another character that provides you with that conditional boost. On top of that, the character gives you a full board of matching slots through block. When it says a matching slot, it gives the left column tandem slots and the right column will get recovery slots, which is still pretty good. Essentially a full board of matching slots. On top of that, removes 7 turns of enemy damage threshold. Great little bit of utility there. And then as well as that, it'll give you a 3-turn 2.75 times orb boost to Dex, Quick, Fighter, and Cerebral, and then obviously combine into the dual unit for 3 turns. But there is further effects. So this character already provides you with a 2.75 orb boost for 3 turns. However, if you launch the special and you already have an orb boost, instead of getting the orb boost, it'll give you a 2.0 chain addition for 3 turns. And then there is another check where if you launch the special and you already have an orb boost and you already have a chain addition, then instead you're going to get 2.25 times increased damage taken inflicted on the enemy that goes through immunity. So that's obviously like the creme de la creme of this character special. If you can get yourself in a scenario where you launch the special, you already have an orb boost, you already have a chain boost, then boom, you get guaranteed 2.25 times increased damage taken. So that's a phenomenal effect to have. However, that's very difficult to get. However, like if you have this character in short form content, you're going to be able to achieve this pretty easily. Because, of course, as a captain, you know, you're generating the orb boost at the start of the quest. You can generate a chain boost at the start of the quest. And then by activating other effects, you can just get that 2.25 times increased damage taken actually pretty easily. But in long-form content, like what you're seeing in this clip here against one of the Heavenly Demon #2 challenge difficulty, 15-star difficulty GARP challenges, it's not something that's going to be insanely achievable if you have to go through a ton of mini-bosses back to back to back, and you have to use some specials to get through. It's not going to be something that you should expect to see, but it is something that you can expect to see in, as we said, like the short-form content where you can abuse those types of effects, and then launch this character special to get all of that to activate. All that being said though, like, is this character actually going to see play? I think it's going to be difficult to see this character being used on a ton of teams moving forward. One of the net positives of this character though is that it is a Straw Hat character, being both Sanji and Nami, so that innately gives you access to a lot of cool effects. Number one, with the fact that this character can be used to trigger a lot of EX supers, super tandem effects, because, you know, Straw Hats get a ton of representation in this game, as well as the fact that it's both a Nami and a Sanji character, so again, you'll get access to very good support effects. Like in this video here, we're actually using a very powerful support on this Nami and Sanji, being the Dex support rare recruit carrot, being able to remove 2 turns of defense up whenever you tap a perfect on it. So that's a great ability to have that not a lot of characters will get access to. We're also using the Brûlé support, which is attached to the Luffy on this team, but Nami can also abuse that support as well, and there's a ton of other characters that you can use on this character. So I do like the fact that, you know, Nami and Sanji have great representation. They're able to be used on a ton of different teams, but innately we're always going to be getting better and better Straw Hat characters moving forward, so I don't know if this is going to see a ton of play, but still a really fun character to use and a very cool looking special animation as well. So that's going to wrap it up for me. Thank you so much for watching the video. Hopefully you did enjoy it, and if you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.
Nami-san,